I could be a hard person to please. I really can. And when it came to Scream 5 and when it came out last year, I was just so disappointed with that movie. I really, really just despised that movie. I am floored with this movie. And I did see it in March. I kind of waited to do this video just so I could gather my thoughts. I wanted to sit with the movie for a month at least until the movie came out on digital, and it has came out on digital, and now I have seen it even more times. This movie actually improves some of my problems that I had with Scream 5. Scream 5 just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't know what to expect going into this movie, and honestly, I was traumatized after Scream 5 and the sheer disappointment I felt after watching that movie. I knew this movie was going to be better. I did. I didn't know it was going to be this good. I wanted it to be better. I still was traumatized. I wasn't sure what I was in for. So my expectations were kind of mild, and I did go into it jokingly saying it might suck. Well, Scream 6 has everything Scream 5 was missing and more. I was ready to be disappointed again. Like, honestly, I was. And I ended up walking out of what may be the best Scream movie since Scream 2. This movie is literally the reason why I love Scream. Radio Silence has proven that they know how to write this franchise. Wes Craven would indeed be proud.
The worst part is, you teach a class about slashers, and you still walked into a dark alley. Alone.
Scream 6, I feel, has elements of all movies. It has that mystery and suspense some of the middle sequels had. This movie is insanely suspenseful, and they did it so well. The whole detective side of things, the whole, like, masks being left at each crime scene, I think that was amazing. I think that's exactly what Scream 5 needed. I think that's what makes these movies so interesting, is the mystery aspect. I really liked it, Detective Bailey and Kirby. All that stuff was great. I think, especially Scream 3 with Mark Kincaid's character as the detective. I just love when the Scream movies have that kind of stuff, that mystery, you know? Scream 5 just was missing that. And not all of the movies have that, but I love when they do have that. And I feel like Scream 5 desperately needed something like that. The whole idea of the masks from each killer being left behind after each attack is just, like, I really, really love that idea. I think that was so cool. And it's just, it ties together all the movies in a neat little bow. Even though this movie feels like it's very separate from the other films, because now it's following new characters, a new storyline, it still feels very connected to the old movies. And I really very much appreciate that. Also, the hints from the other killers, too. It's so smart and under the rug. Like, I love seeing Scream 2 and realizing how Mickey was manipulating Sidney into thinking Derek was the killer. And I just, going back and seeing, I've seen it a lot of times, Scream 6. I've rewatched it quite a bit of times already. But there's a lot of times where the killers, you know, they kind of try to throw us off and they kind of try to make us think something else. And I really love that. That's something that I love, because when you go back and rewatch it so many times, you're like, oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. They were kind of manipulating the situation. I think that's so cool. There's a lot of moments in the movie like that. Okay, we have to talk about those chase sequences, though. Like, my God, Scream 5 has zero chase scenes. Like, what the fuck, dude? This movie has so many, and each one is so intense and scary. Like, actually scary. Ghostface is a force in this movie, in the costume. Chase scenes are so important in these movies. They really are. And this movie delivered every single one in spades. It just never stops. It stops at the right moment for the character development and exchange, but it doesn't overstay its welcome, because Then another Ghostface attack happens, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat. It's just go, 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 and it's kind of like a roller coaster. You never want to get off, and it's just amazing. The bodega scene, the ladder scene, Gale's attack scene too, like all 10 out of 10 scenes, dude. Like amazing stuff. Like this is some of the best stuff we've seen in the franchise for a long, long, long time. And it just makes me so happy. Like this is Scream. This is the stuff I live for, dude. So now let's talk about the elephant in the room. This is the first Scream movie without Dewey and Sidney. So I'm going to talk about Sidney first, and then I'll talk about Dewey, and then I'll talk about Gale too right now. But let's talk about the ones that aren't in the movie first. But okay, I was actually really devastated, like devastated as hell that Nev wasn't going to be in this movie. And I was really, really mad about it. And I was also mad because they weren't paying her, and that's the whole reason she didn't come back. Look, I'll tell you this. Scream 5 didn't know what to do with her. Or any of the OGs, for that matter. Any of the originals. They didn't do anything with her in Scream 5, and it's clear that they don't have anything to do with her. There's nothing else to do with Sidney. Her story's ended. And as far as I'm concerned, it's kind of been over since Scream 3. So what's even the point of bringing her back? Just for nostalgia or to please fans? I love Sidney, guys, and I was devastated when I heard Nev wasn't going to be in it. But you know what? It kind of makes sense. Where would Nev have been? What part would she have played in this movie? It makes no sense for her to be here. It really doesn't. I can't see another version of Scream 6 with Sidney Prescott in it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Narratively wise, it just doesn't make sense for her to be here. To be honest, I was fine with her not being in 6 since I felt they were just going to waste her anyway. They wasted her in 5, so I mean, again, there's nothing else to do with her. This movie made me realize something and kind of made me forgive something about 5 that I complained a lot about. Sidney doesn't need to be in these movies anymore. Like, she really doesn't. Her story ended, like I said, her story ended in 3. And 4 was just kind of like an epilogue. Here's the thing with Scream 5. It was a big return to the franchise. Radio Silence had to get people on board with their new version of Scream. And they know fans are going to be pissed if they don't bring back the OG 3. I mean, that's true. I would be pissed if they weren't in it. So they were kind of backed into a corner. They had to bring them back out of obligation because, let's face it, remove Sidney and Gale from the equation, and maybe even Dewey, and the movie doesn't change at all. You could take those characters out, and there's literally nothing will change about the movie if you take them out of the equation. Sidney is useless. Her character doesn't even make sense to be here anymore. She didn't make sense to be in 5. The only reason she came back, or like she came back at the end, was because Dewey died. And I don't blame Radio Silence for the way they handled her in Scream 5. Like, I'm not even mad at them. This movie made me forgive them for that, because I understand now. They don't know what to do with her. The only reason they brought her back was because Scream fanboys were going to get all pissy. I think Scream fans need to accept this. Sidney is done. And I'm fine with it. I'm totally fine with it. These new characters are doing a great job. I think if Sidney's in 7, I wouldn't mind it. If she makes a quick cameo in 7, okay, fine. But do we really need it? No, we don't need it. We don't need Sidney in Scream 7. So anyways, Gale, on the other hand, I actually hate them for writing Gale the way they did in Scream 5. Oh my god, because they proved to me that they could have written Gale a really good part in 5, but instead they chose to do nothing with her in 5. Finally, she actually acts like Gale Weathers. Like, she actually feels like the character again. And I know people criticize Gale because, like, her character never changes. She's always been the same. But I don't know. I know Gale's like not a good person, but I don't care. That's Gale. Gale's not supposed to be a good person. I know people get annoyed with her, but like that's literally her character. Like I don't care. I could care less if she just stays the same for every single movie. She's actually given such a good her chase scene with Ghostface is so amazing. That's like one of my favorite scenes in the franchise. Her role is small, but it makes sense. You see, Sydney, what would her role be in this movie? She can't share the main character role with Sam, so she's just going to be a side character. Scream 5 proves that she does not work as a side character. In fact, she's just extremely boring as a side character. If anyone still makes sense to be here, it's Gale. And her attack scene was just so amazing, like I said. The phone call with Ghostface was all just so good. So that's all I have to say about Gale. She was excellent in this movie. So Dewey, my personal favorite, my fave OG. He actually gets a lot of respect in this movie, a lot of mentions. They actually even play his little theme, his little jingle. My face lit up when they did that. When I first watched it, I was so happy when they did that. It was so nice. It was so nice. I actually don't think the movie felt like it needed Dewey. There's so many fun characters in this movie that make up for it, but it still would have been nice to have good old Dewdrop. It would have. I think they could have made it work. I don't think the movie needs Dewey, but it wouldn't have. I think it would have still been nice if he was in it. That's all I have to say.
I saw that in a scary movie once.
I was afraid of how they were going to write Kirby in this movie, but I am happy to report that she's so amazing here. People were saying she doesn't act the same. Like, honestly, she's still exactly the same. To me, she's still the same Kirby. I think Hayden Panettiere was amazing. She did such a good job. She played it so good, and they gave her a good script. The script is what matters. The script either makes or breaks the movie, and it was the part they wrote for her was very good. Let's talk about Sam. Like, wow. That's all I have to say. Okay. I've always liked Melissa Barrera. I love Melissa. And I know her acting is criticized in 5. Yeah, you watch Scream 5 and you notice there's some lines that weren't delivered the best. So I think we could all chalk it up to the writing in Scream 5. And this movie proves it, by the way, because in my opinion, I think Melissa gets too much hate. She gets way too much hate for 5. I get she has corny lines in Scream 5, but the thing is that that's a script. Like, they wrote that for her. It wasn't Melissa's fault. That's literally in the script. They literally told her to say that. It's not her fault. The line's just dumb as fuck, dude. Because, once again, Scream 6 improves every terrible detail from freaking Scam 5. Her character's so much better here. They give her so much more here. She really feels like the star in this movie. Because in the 5, Sydney's still in it. So, even though the focus is on Sam, you're still focused on Sydney. Like us, the viewers, we're still focused on Sydney. So now that Sydney's erased or taken out of the equation, we kind of could zone in on Sam's character. And man, she's so good here. She is so good. I fully accept her as the new lead in this of the franchise. I love the fine line she walks of being the new final girl, but she also has this dark, mysterious side to her where she has killer instinct tendencies. The movie really plays around with that aspect. I really like that. That's so cool. I don't think we've ever had a final girl like that. Ever. Where she could very well become the villain. I think that's so cool. Let's talk about the returning characters from Scream 5 first, and then I'll get to the new ones. I really didn't care at all for the characters in Scream 5. I thought they were so boring and overall just not well written. Well, the returning characters are so much better in this movie. They're so much better. They feel so much more natural. I thought Chad was very basic in 5 and just forgettable. But wow, he was so good here. He really won me over. To me, he just has so much more personality in this movie and so much character. Mason Gooding didn't get the script he deserved in Scream 5. He really didn't. He's a really good actor. I really loved him here. Such a likable dude. Mindy is also better here. I did like her in 5 though. I did. She's probably the only character, the only new character I liked from Scream 5, but she's also better here. All the characters actually are better here. Tara, he's not my favorite. I think Sam, Chad, and Mindy are standouts. Like they're the stars. Tara too, but she's definitely my least favorite out of the 4. But she was definitely better here. She has a lot more to do here, and she gets a lot of good moments. She gets a lot of really, really good moments. So the new characters, literally not one bad character in this movie. I liked everyone. I loved Annika. Her death was so sad, dude. Quinn was amazing. She was really funny. The writing is genuinely better here. Like, it really, really is. Danny. Oh, I love Danny. I love me some Danny. Danny was so good. Like, I'm not even lying. He was my favorite character. He's like, he's up there with like Jennifer and Cotton. I'm gonna have to do a favorite Scream character list, so all you guys can laugh at me soon. But he had such little screen time. I hope if they do 7, please bring Danny back and please give him more screen time. Please. I also liked Ethan. He was really funny too. Detective Bailey was also a nice addition. I talked about him a little bit earlier.
Now I see something red.
The opening scene. This is like one of the best opening scenes since Scream 2. And it's even better than Scream 2's. It's not better than the originals because the first movie's opening can be topped. Like, it just can't. The idea of having an opening kill within an opening kill is just insane. This is so meta. I love it. The killer being the opening kill was genius. Like, who thought of this? Didn't say this before, but I'm throwing it in now. But the New York setting is so cool. So cool. I'm so sorry for ever doubting it wouldn't be cool. Like, when I heard they were going to do it in New York, I didn't like it. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't fond of the idea at all. And seeing now that I've seen the movie, I love the New York setting. I think it's so cool. It like perfectly suits this movie. What can I say? I love a good third act bloodbath with a cool location, good killers, and a good twist, and a damn good motive. And this movie delivered on all accounts. Okay, the theater location, cool as hell. Best location for a third act in any Scream. Like, really, seriously. Like, the third act being in the shrine of all the killers from every single movie just ties all the movies up in a neat little bow. I know it's like, so these are such small details, but these are the details I live for in these movies. Amazing. They really, this movie is for the fans. It really is. The 3 killers were also really good too. And I love the motive. And I know it's basically Scream 2, but I felt like, I don't know, it felt like home, okay? It did. It felt like old times. That's why I liked it, and that's why I hated Scream 5's motive. Also, Sam putting Billy's costume on, like, so good. It's like my favorite scene in the movie. I could watch that scene forever and never get bored of it. In conclusion, just to sum it all up, 10 out of 100. That's my rating for this movie. Literally the most perfect Scream sequel. Like, honestly, I know it's not technically perfect from a critic standpoint, I've watched it, like, again, I've watched it a lot of times. I don't know, like, close to 10 times already, and it's not going to stop from there. There's inconsistencies, and there's, like, dumb plot holes in the movie. Yeah, there's some inconsistencies. There's no perfect movie, but let's be honest, Scream could be silly sometimes. It can. So, like, it's like, I don't even care. Like, I really don't. I mean, I like the silliest Scream movie of all time. So, of course, I'm not going to care. It's just so well thought out, and it connects every single movie so well. Better than any movie, like I said. They literally acknowledge every single movie. This movie truly was for the fans, and I couldn't be more impressed and satisfied. So good, guys, so good. If you haven't seen it, please see it. Anyways,